Hi everyone, I'm Mike Green, Public Information Officer in the Allen County Commissioner's Office, and welcome to Countyline, the program featuring news and information about county government. And it is summertime in northeast Indiana. Along with the sunshine and the warmer temperatures, though, comes an increased risk for severe weather. Damaging winds, thunderstorms, even tornadoes are more likely this time of year, and it's important to know when severe weather may be striking and what to do when it does hit. And to find out more about some of the new ways that are out there for getting information about severe weather is Bernie Beyer. He's the head of the Allen County Emergency Management Agency. And Bernie, it's nice to see you again.
Well, thanks, Mike. Glad to be on the show again.
Okay, so there are a lot of different ways folks can find out about severe weather, obviously through the news media. Weather radios are out there that are available, but now there's a new way of getting the word out using the technology that's in your cell phones. Tell us a little bit about this project that the federal government has underway.
You're right, Mike, and the new project's got several names. The most common is Commercial Mobile Alert System, or CMAS, is what's most commonly referred to. And what it is, it's a new technology developed in partnership with the major cell phone providers that allows a subscriber's device in a service area to receive a message either from the Office of the President, if it's a national emergency, a state or regional emergency, or a weather emergency, which our local viewers would most likely see in the upcoming 4 or 5 months.
Okay, so how does this work? I mean, do you have input, or does your office have input as far as getting information out through this system?
No, not at this time, but that's absolutely the desired end state, that federal, state, and locals have access to the system. So currently the way it works, and the most likely message that our viewers would receive is a weather alert. And only a few weather alerts are allowed. In the Midwest, we don't have to worry about so much the earthquakes and the droughts, but the tornado warning is what we'll most likely hear first. And that's only for a tornado warning. And when it's given, that message will also be carried across cell phone bands by carriers that have voluntarily agreed to participate in the program, and by cell phones that have the software enabled. So that's not all of them at this time, but all the major carriers, especially in our area I've checked, all do provide the service, but not all the phone devices that you might have bought have been enabled yet.
Now, is this something you have to sign up for, or does it just automatically come?
No, it's automatic, and that's the best part of the technology. When this messaging is scripted and it receives a feed from the National Weather Service, the telephone provider, the big ones, they'll send this message out. It'll look and smell like a text message, but it's really not. So you don't have to have a data-enabled phone. You don't pay for the messages. You don't have to subscribe to it. It comes automatically from the nearest cell tower. And what I think is the most neat about this is that even if you're, say, an AT&T customer from California and you're visiting friends here in Allen County, and the alert is for Allen County, if that cell phone that's enabled is within range of the tower, it will receive the signal. So it's for visitors too. So again, you don't subscribe to it, and it doesn't have to be in your home area. And if you've left, it doesn't follow you. But if you're in the danger area and you have an enabled phone, you will receive that text alert.
So in other words, it's location-based, based on where you're at the time.
Absolutely, location and device. If the device has been enabled and it's within range of the area, it will receive it.
And I assume there's no cost involved in this.
No cost. It's a free service to us. I'm sure our taxpayers have paid for it. There's nothing free, but it is not a subscription service. You don't pay per text. And you are able to opt out of the 2 levels. You can opt out. Each cell phone provider has a different method for doing it, so viewers should check on their subscription services. But you can opt out of local alerts, and you can opt out of state alerts, but you cannot opt out of presidential alerts.
I believe, if I also read someplace, that messages such as Amber Alerts are also provided through the service.
Absolutely. It's not just a weather emergency, that's just the more common, but an Amber Alert, Silver Alert, so local emergencies, as well as state or regional emergencies, will all be carried across this band.
So what's the best way for folks to find out if the cell phone they have and their carrier will be providing this service?
Yeah, best is check with your cell phone provider. Check on the internet. I checked a few sites today, some of the major carriers, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and they've all got some great information on their service pages. And I checked with local cell phone offices, sales offices here today, and some know about it, some don't, and some are just learning about it. So in most cases, check with your cell phone provider to make sure that your area is covered and the device or the model number that you have is included. And some of the newer phones that have software upgrades can simply be upgraded. You can download it from the internet, but your cell phone provider is always your best source of information.
Sounds like a great method. Okay, so we talked about getting the message, which obviously is of utmost importance if severe weather's coming through. But of course, the other thing we want to talk to you about today is being prepared for the emergency. And as we always tell folks who are watching, it's always too late to start preparing when you've received word that severe weather is coming through. The preparation phase is something you need to do before the severe weather strikes.
You're absolutely right, and planning begins long before the emergency, like you just said. Everybody has to first have a plan in place. The weather alert, the CMAS, whatever system you use, your trigger event that tells you something's happening and I have to do something about it is the wrong time to figure out what it is I'm going to do. So that plan has to be in place, and it has to be practiced with all your family members months, years before the emergency happened. And we're so familiar with this process as it relates to fire safety and kindergartners and second graders, the Survival Lifehouse and learning the stop, drop, and roll and fire safety. And we're really good about that. And scout programs always incorporate things about an emergency plan in the house and how to get out of your bedroom if the house is on fire. That's the same logic we need to do for all the other emergencies, whether it's something we can expect like severe weather, which room to go to in the house, if you have a basement, what are you going to do, what if you're separated, but all that has to be thought about and talked about and practiced at the family level long before the emergency occurs. So when you do receive that alert, when the siren goes off, when you get the text, whatever method you use, then you put that plan into action. But the warning's of little use if you haven't planned in advance.
Where are some places folks can go to get information to help them formulate their plans?
Well, I'm kind of biased to our own website. That's why we try to keep it simple for folks. But at allencounty.us/EMA, or right off the Allen County website, we've got a lot of information for homeowners, for individuals, for businesses. Some of it's original work, some comes from the state, some comes from FEMA, but we try to make it easy by allowing one-stop shopping. Come to the website, browse, pick those things that you need, discard the things that you don't need. And as it relates to disaster preparedness, emergency kits and plans, I'm a big advocate for shopping around. And each individual, each family member, each household has to have their own plan. It's not cookie cutter. So the plan that works for me in my house, based on my children's age, the pets, all those things, is great for me, but not be great for my neighbor. So each person has to take a plan as a starting point and then modify it to what works best for their family, because that's the plan that you're probably going to execute well, is your own plan.
Yeah, the FEMA website's got some great information and helps you think about things you wouldn't normally think about when disaster hits. I can give you one example that I read, is that if a storm comes through and knocks the power out, one thing you should have in an emergency kit is some cash. Because if the power gets knocked out, there's the prospect that ATM machines won't be operating, your credit card might not work because the whole system's down because of a lack of power, and it's a possibility you might not have access to cash for a couple of days if you don't have that right there in your kit ready.
You know, Mike, that's a great example of just that extended thinking, or we call it now, this year the big word is cascade planning, of what emergency causes a second and a third, and what you described is exactly right. It just might mean you need gas for your generator, but the computer system at the gas station's down. But if you had $20 in cash, or whatever gas is going to cost by then, you could get a couple gallons for the generator. So that's a great example. You might not have to have Fort Knox, and burying mason jars in the backyard might not be the best solution, but having some cash for baby formula, gas, just a little get out of town money might be all you need, and that might be prudent.
Well, Bernie, thanks for your time. We appreciate it, and thanks for updating folks on this new way to get information, and also about some tips for preparing for severe weather. We appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate the continued interest in the subject, and I think it's important for people to plan year-round.
Hello, you have a couple of tickets for green, please?
There you go.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We're at the ticket office at the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum, and I just did what thousands upon thousands of people do all the time. Come by, pick up your tickets for one of the great events they have here, whether it's a sporting event involving the Fort Wayne Comets or the Fort Wayne Mad Ants, or even a musical act such as Jason Aldean or Elton John. But not everyone has as pleasurable an experience as this, and it's because of ticket scalpers that have gone high-tech and have become more sophisticated in ripping off the public. So much so that the Coliseum has joined up with an organization aimed at informing the public about these scams. And with us right now is Randy Brown, the Executive Vice President, General Manager of the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum, to tell us more about this. Thank you very much for joining us, Randy. We appreciate it.
Mike, thank you for having me on today.
Tell us a little bit about the problem. Scalping's been around for a long time, and it's usually been the maybe 4 or 5 people that stand outside saying, hey, who needs 2? I got 2. This has grown to proportions that making the experience of coming to an event unpleasurable for many people.
You're right, it has changed a lot. If you think the old days where somebody might have a pair of tickets standing out in front and holding them up just saying, hey, get a couple extra tickets here. Today with computerized ticketing and with programs that are just pinging those ticket outlets, they're called bots, and they really make it difficult for the average fan to come out and get good tickets, number one, but also the fraud that's in place. This stack of tickets that I'm holding here is from last Saturday's Jason Aldean concert. We did not allow printed home ticketing because of some of the issues with scalpers. The scalpers bought the tickets. They actually bought these tickets, and their plan was to print the ticket at home and then resell it from there. What happens when they do that is they will get that one ticket, that one seat. They'll then copy and copy and copy. So they'll resell that seat not just once, but 4, 5, 10 times. And what happens as the fan, you think you've got a legitimate ticket in hand, and you come to our doors, and when our ushers scan the ticket in, okay, the first person gets in, that's legitimate, but after that, 2, 3, 4, however many people, they don't get in, they get turned away, and it's a duplicate, a copy, and I don't know what they may have spent, face value, or 2 or 3 times the face value of the ticket, but ultimately they've wasted their money.
You also had another incident recently that involved ticket scamming. I believe it's the Van Halen concert that's getting ready to come up. Kind of explain what the scam was there.
Even before we had determined what the ticket prices were going to be for the show, and the show is July 31st, so it's sometime out even today, the promoter hadn't set the ticket prices, but a reporter who was doing some advance work prior to the announce and the on sale thought that she was on our website, when in reality she was on a clone website of ours, but it was a scalper. And the ticket prices were noted at a low of $125 up to a high of approximately $350. So that got printed, and so now the public thinks, my goodness, the tickets for Van Halen are $125 to $350. Now the reality of the situation is, once ticket prices were set, the low is actually $39 to a high of $99. So 2 things happen with that. One is misinformation gets out to the public. And, you know, it's one thing to say, okay, for $39, I'm going to Van Halen. If you think the low price is $125, it may be, boy, I don't know, that's a lot of money. So that impacts the ticket sales. In addition to that, again, this was all out there and listed as on sale before the tickets were even, you know, ticket 1 had not been printed. So again, I have to say, public, be careful. You may be spending your good hard-earned money for no return. You're not getting anything for it. In the case of Jason Aldean here, we turned a lot of people away, and people who had saved, this was maybe their big event for the year to go out, an engagement, you know, any special date, that type of thing. And as bad as I feel about it, but we have to turn them away. There's just nothing we can do.
Yeah, you have no recourse because they're not your tickets in the first place.
Yeah, we don't have the revenue. I mean, frankly, we don't know who has their money. And the other real question can be, too, if you've given them a credit card if these are unscrupulous people, who's to say that they aren't doing even more with your credit card, putting other transactions against it? So, it's I think the most important thing I can say to the public is, if you're buying a ticket here for the Allen County War Memorial Coliseum, either come out to our windows or make sure you're going to Ticketmaster. That's Ticketmaster.com. Don't go to any other source. If you're doing a web search, going to a website, double check. Make sure that you're on either Ticketmaster's website or the Coliseum. Don't go anywhere else.
You hear this kind of activity and you're thinking about major events, Super Bowls, and places like Lucas Oil Stadium. While we have a terrific facility here, you're not thinking about a market like Fort Wayne where something like this is taking place, but it's really happening all across the country, even worldwide.
It is, and ticket scalping is a billion-dollar business. At last report, it's in the 2 to 3 billion just in the United States. So if you're thinking worldwide, who knows how large a proportion that is. We have joined a group called Fans First Coalition, which is a group from facilities to artists, sports teams, and people and entities involved in the entertainment industry to educate the public. We feel it's our role. I live in Fort Wayne, so I have a duty to protect our citizens, and I take that seriously. So Fans First is a coalition. Again, if you go to our website, which is memorialcoliseum.com, at the very bottom of our homepage, you'll see an icon for Fans First, and you can learn more about the organization, about the coalition. But it's, again, the mission is to make sure that people have an opportunity to get a fairly priced ticket, that they are at the face value of that ticket. That's what we really want to have. Not 2 to 3 times face value, but an opportunity to get good tickets, to pay a reasonable, appropriate amount for that ticket, and to have a comfort level that when you come to the arena, to the theater, or wherever it may be the night of a show, that ticket is indeed going to get you into the event.
You mentioned that there's not much, obviously, that the Coliseum can do in an event when someone is ripped off like this. Scary thought is there really isn't much law enforcement can do. I mean, there's some fraud involved, but you were telling me there are no laws against scalping in Indiana. Yeah,
Indiana does not have scalping laws. That's true. But I would say this goes beyond scalping. This is fraud. This is just wrong. And so if I'm the fan who has been, fraudulently taken advantage of, I would contact the State Attorney General's office, certainly possibly put a claim in. Now, again, some of these entities are not even based in the United States, so it's going to be very difficult to track it down and to win that one. Because I can tell you, Ticketmaster, a lot of the major ticketing entities have tried. More than shut one down and another one springs up somewhere. It's difficult, and it doesn't take a lot of investment to start a business like this. I mean, some of the major ones have rooms and rooms of computers where they're scamming in a big way, but there are smaller operators too all over. A lot of it is offshore. And so just as we are successful in tracking one down, another one will start up. So it's really a shell game.
Again, like we said, if you think it can't happen in Fort Wayne, you're mistaken, because it does happen here, and it happens probably more frequently than people think.
Probably so, and that's why we've taken a proactive position to inform the public, doing everything we can at the Coliseum to make sure that ticketing is as legitimate as we can possibly make it, and inform the public so that we know where to go to get safe tickets and what to stay away from.
And most of the time we're talking about these bigger major events, as opposed to, say, some of the regularly scheduled events here, like the Comet Games. Not that people necessarily wouldn't think those are valuable tickets, but the point is they're going to be looking for these kind of once-in-a-lifetime, the Jason Aldeans, the Van Halens, the Elton John, to target people who are looking to buy tickets for those events.
Well, primarily that's the case, but even with our sporting events, remember that if somebody has gotten onto one of these websites by accident, and it does happen for Comet Hockey, they will sell what you and I would think would be a Comet hockey ticket. The reality is it's not a legitimate ticket. So it's the same buyer beware. Double check if you're doing a web search. Make sure you're either on Ticketmaster or the Memorial Coliseum's website. Otherwise, you're taking a real risk.
Obviously, these crooks are using technology to their advantage. Are there any technological advances that venue operators are looking at to try to combat this?
Actually, there are. And with major events, a few years ago, you started hearing about paperless ticketing. And that's where you buy your tickets, and when you come to the arena the night of the event, your barcode is sent right to your smartphone, and you do have to have an ID. So it's there's more control. Now the scalpers absolutely hate paperless ticketing, and there have been some suits involved with that. And believe it or not, their argument is it's a restraint of trade. So, but that is the one method so far that seems to be working to, to challenge the scalpers, and again to make ticketing legitimate, so that the public has a comfort level that the ticket that they think they have will truly be a valid ticket to get into the event.
You chair an international organization. I'm sure you've heard these horror stories from a lot of your compatriots in this business.
Yes, I'm chairman of the board of the International Association of Venue Managers. We represent 3,800 facilities worldwide. So this is an international problem. It's not just in the United States. United States, Canada, all the European Union, all the developed markets are having issues with scalping.
So again, for the most part, buyer beware. Watch the website you're going to, and again, check out the Coliseum's brand new website, which also includes the link to Fan First Coalition that will tell you more about the organization and give you information on ways you can protect yourself from these crooks. Randy, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Great information to pass along.
Very much. Thank you. Again, remember, public, memorialcoliseum.com or Ticketmaster. Be safe. Make sure you get in the right website and come out, enjoy the events. Thank you.
Well, behind me is the Puffer Belly Trail here in the northwest side of Fort Wayne, one of the many trails in our community that help enhance the lifestyle for residents here. But to have a trail system like we have takes some money. The Fort Wayne Trails organization has a project underway to try to raise funds to help continue growing the trail system in our community, not only within the city of Fort Wayne, but to carry it out into Allen County as well. Lori Keys is the executive director of Fort Wayne Trails, and she is with us today to tell us a little bit about this initiative. Lori, it's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you as well. Thanks for picking such a great day.
Well, it's a much better day than the last time we talked to Lori. That was back last September, I believe it was, when we had finished off a nice portion of the Aboit Trails, and we got deluged by quite a thunderstorm that day. And you were okay. I looked like a drowned rat, but we were both lucky to survive that, it seemed like. But yes, it is a much nicer day today. And it's a nice day to talk about the initiative that you folks have going. Tell us about the Countdown to Connectivity.
The Countdown to Connectivity is really an unprecedented opportunity to achieve a lot more safe and convenient bike and pedestrian links, really in every section of the county. What we've done is realize that we have an existing $5 million in primarily federal transportation dollars that's waiting to be unlocked with a private match. So if we can raise $1 million by the end of 2013, so we have 18 months to make this happen, we unlock $5 million, and that will allow us to build 6.5 new miles of trails in every section of the county, northwest, northeast, southeast, and southwest, including some extensions here along the Puffer Belly Trail.
Right, and folks may be wondering, these aren't real cheap to make. I mean, you may not think of them in the same way as we do like highways and streets, but it's not too dissimilar from those.
They're not. I mean, these are built to last. They're built for generations, and so they are carefully planned and engineered and constructed. Looking at future maintenance costs, we want to minimize those as well. They are a fraction of the cost of a road, and they are free to use, so the cost-benefit ratio for the community is quite good.
Okay, and you mentioned Puffer Belly Trail as being one of those that's would be extended through the money that you're able to raise. Kind of give an example of what we're talking about when you say extended.
Well, there are 5 projects included in the Countdown to Connectivity, and the part of the Puffer Belly that we're most focused on right now is the section that'll go into downtown. We envision eventually being able to ride or travel on foot into downtown from where we are now. So it's actually phase 1 of the Puffer Belly Trail will go from the 4th and Clinton Street area where the new MLK Bridge is, up to Franke Park, the zoo, and all the way up to Glenbrook Square.
And just as a reference point for folks, where we're standing at is near the entrance to the Parkview YMCA, and that's heading south toward Till Road, and the Puffer Belly currently goes across Till, and there's another street, I cannot think the name of it right offhand, but it carries out to Wallen Road. And then eventually what you'd like to do is be able to pick up from Wallen Road and take that literally on into downtown.
Yes, both going south into downtown and north of here as well. There's a lot of residential density. We know there's a lot of retail and commercial areas that folks are traveling to, as well as a lot of people trying to get to this YMCA. So we're also looking at an opportunity to extend north from DuPont Road as well.
I believe out to Carroll Road, is that the final destination? Well, actually not really. It is within the county sort of, but you're talking about even going further north with this trail.
Yes, this trail is eventually planned to extend all the way to Pokagon State Park.
Okay. Well, what about a few of the other projects besides the Puffer Belly Trail that could be helped with this money?
In the northeast part of the community, we're looking at extending the trail from IPFW along the west side of the river up to Shove Park. So that would be connecting a very isolated area. In the southeast, we've been talking a lot with neighbors southeast, and there's a real need for more connectivity there. The next project we're working on is extending the Southtown Center Trail out to Anthony, and then continuing to plan along what's called the 6 Mile Creek Trail that will eventually go from Southtown Center out to Mosier Park in New Haven. Okay. Southwest, there's a couple of critical gaps as well that we're working to fill in. One of the questions that we get all the time from Southwest residents is, when will the Covington Trail be extended down to West Hamilton Road? So we're working really hard on getting through the federal process so that we can go to construction hopefully next season on that. And then there's also one more gap on Ingle Road that's it's a safety issue, number one, between the Towpath Trail and Aboit Center Road, the county's project there. And it would also create a 5K loop between Lutheran's campus, the business parks off of Ingle Road, the Towpath, and Aboit Center Road. So it'll serve a lot of residents over there.
And obviously these are projects that are going to take a while to get completed.
They are. The good news is we don't have to raise the entire $1 million to start releasing projects because all 5 of these projects are planned in phases. As we raise funds, we can release projects one by one as they're ready to go.
I know you've talked about this in the past, but for folks who say, are these really necessary? I mean, exactly what kind of benefit they provide to the community. Explain a little bit about why we need these.
Well, we look at thriving communities all over the country, and a term that we hear a lot now is quality of opportunity. We work closely with a lot of partners in Fort Wayne, including Vision 2020, the Northeast Indiana Regional Partnership, of course our government partners. We work with the arts community, and we're really all speaking the same language now about this quality of opportunity, about making this a place that promotes a very high quality of life and a vibrant atmosphere. Trails in any thriving community, they're a part of being able to have that vibrant lifestyle, being able to safely walk or ride to destinations. It's critical for the health of our community. We see lifestyle-related diseases just skyrocketing. And building physical activity into our daily routines, whether it's walking to school, bike commuting to work, or just replacing some short trips on the bike or on foot, it's absolutely critical for our health. We're talking about reducing healthcare costs for employees. We're talking about quality of life that is much improved. There are also very staggering economic development impacts. We're hearing a lot from realtors who are saying people are asking to be located close to the trails. We're hearing from employers who are giving our trail maps now to people that they're trying to recruit to come here. Visit Fort Wayne is telling us that the trail maps are their highest request that they get over the summer months especially. So we're seeing all of those impacts reach out to the community now that we do have a connected trail system. Yeah,
from a business and economic development standpoint, a lot of businesses these days are looking at trails not only because of the health benefits they can provide for employees, but also they're good for the environment.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, you can see preserved green space from the trails. Of course, less of a carbon footprint. And the trails also, they're for everyone. There are certain places where it makes more sense to have other types of infrastructure like sidewalks or bike lanes or on-road infrastructure. But the trails, when we look at the data, the trails hit the largest percentage of the population who wants to be riding and walking. I know when I first started riding my bike again, it had been quite a while. And I had some fear in getting back on my bike. And luckily I lived close to a trail, a lot like this one, that made it feel very safe and comfortable to learn again. And then I was able to graduate to other types of facilities.
But again, like you say, it's a nice, safe place because you're not having to ride out in traffic or try to run with cars buzzing around you. You've got a nice, safe place to exercise. Okay, now you've been flopping these around because the maps that not only show what you currently have, but what's ahead in the future. Tell us about these.
Right. We just came out with these maps on May 1st. That was when we rolled out the 5-to-1 matching campaign, the Countdown to Connectivity. And they show, for the very first time, they show the county-wide trail system. So they show the 50 connected miles of trails that we have. There's actually a total of 68 miles of trails in Allen County, so you can tell our next task is to fill in those gaps. They also show projects that are in active planning stages, so things like road projects that will include trails in them, like the Maple Crest Road project, State Road 14 out on the southwest side, DuPont Road has a trail here. Those are shown, as well as projects that we're actively working on. And then the Countdown to Connectivity projects are singled out on here with a little icon as well. In addition to showing the trail plans, these are really meant for user friendliness, to make it more comfortable, more convenient to get out, and for anyone to use the trail system. So they show water fountain locations, restroom locations, places where you can park and get on the trails as trailheads. They have all the public destinations and parks mentioned in detail.
These are great for people who live here in the community and need these, but also for folks who may be visiting and are active and like to get out into the community and see what trails are available.
Yes, there's actually a downtown inset, so it shows a close-up of all of those destinations. Very user-friendly. It was designed completely in kind by one of our board members at One Lucky Guitar, and he really took a lot of care in studying maps all over the place to make it user-friendly.
And these are free, and where can you pick them up?
A lot of locations. We have them available at our office, and we have Pembroke Bakery in our office at 300 East Main Street in the Hour Center. We're also getting them out to all of the YMCAs, all of the libraries in town. We're working on getting them to all of the hotels because we know there's demand there. They're at our bike shops, fitness centers, and we're always looking for volunteers to help us get these out in the community as well.
Any chance you have them available online?
Yes, we do. We have a PDF available for download on our website, which is fwtrails.org.
Something else you're doing, and we don't have one to show off right here, but if folks are interested, if they go to your website, you got a neat shirt that you're selling to folks.
We do. We have a few things underway. We have a Friends of the Trails campaign that we just started where we want to amass as many friends of the trails as possible. We know there are thousands of people every month out here using these trails, and for any donation of $20 or more, someone becomes an official friend of the trails, where they get a sticker for their bike or office or car window, and they become part of our massive support, and we utilize that. As you know, that helps us to leverage government support as well. We also have some t-shirt opportunities. We just rolled out, we were awarded a bicycle-friendly city just last week by the League of American Bicyclists, and Fort Wayne's now one of 103 communities in the country that has that designation. So to celebrate that and to celebrate our summer Trek the Trails rides that we do at the city, we just rolled out a safety green shirt, so you're very visible in this shirt, and it says Bike Friendly Fort Wayne on it. And it's a really fun shirt. We have a new little heart logo with a bike in it. And then we also have a limited edition Fort Wayne Trails t-shirt that's available for a donation of $20, and it'll be your favorite t-shirt of all time.
Now, that's separate from the Countdown to Connectivity, is that right, or is that part of it?
Well, it all ties in together. Basically, all the funds that we're raising right now go towards this Countdown to connectivity because we have a limited time to raise these funds, and they do serve, the project serves every part of the community as well.
So you buy the t-shirt, you're helping that Countdown to Connectivity.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, Lori, thanks a lot for sharing the information with us. We appreciate it. Hope folks will pick up a map if you'd like. Check out the Fort Wayne Trails website, which is, what's the address?
Which is fwtrails.org.
And also, if you get the opportunity to participate in the Countdown to Connectivity, you can help bring a lot of needed money into this area to help us continue to grow the trail system, not only within the city of Fort Wayne, but on out into Allen County and our communities surrounding the city. Thanks a lot, Lori.
Right. Thank you so much.
And that'll do it for this edition of County Line. We thank you for joining us. A reminder, this edition of County Line and previous programs can be viewed through our video on demand service as well as on our YouTube channel. You can reach both of those sites by going to allencounty.us. I'm Mike Green, Public Information Officer in the Allen County Commissioner's Office, and we will see you again next time on County Line.